Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of our attendees joining us today for this latest Data Science Central webinar. This is Bill Vorhies, your host. I'm the Editorial Director with Data Science Central and also Chief Data Scientist for Data Magnum. I'd like to start off our event today by thanking IBM Analytics for sponsoring today's event. IBM Analytics is an integral supporter of the Data Science Central community, and we're honored to have them sponsoring our event today. I'd also like to take this opportunity to mention and show our appreciation for some of our other recent sponsors, including Alteryx, TidalScale, HPE Vertica, Dell Statistica, and Teradata, to name just a few. Now, past webinars are available on demand at datasciencecentral.com, and if you haven't had an opportunity to view them, I encourage you to take a look. They provide a very useful insight into a wide variety of topics of interest to our data science community. Now, today's webinar is entitled Data Science Made Simple with SPSS. And before we begin, I'd like to briefly review the format of today's webinar. Today's event will be an hour long. We'll have two presenters that I'll introduce in just a minute. There'll be 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A following the presentation, and this event is being recorded and will be available on datasciencecentral.com later this afternoon following today's live event. I'd also like to encourage our attendees to provide questions throughout the presentation. We'll be reviewing and presenting them on your behalf during the Q&A portion of today's event. Well, I'm very pleased to introduce today's speakers, Douglas Stauber and Michael Sauceda of IBM Analytics. Now, Doug Stauber is the lead offering manager of IBM SPSS Statistics. He holds degrees in electrical and computer engineering and worked as a semiconductor engineer at Intel. Doug then earned an MBA from the University of Notre Dame with concentrations in marketing and analytics. And in 2013, Doug joined IBM to pursue offering management for IBM Analytics and has been focused on driving exciting changes for SPSS Statistics. Now, Mike Sauceda is a product manager within the IBM Analytics group, where he's responsible for sales strategy for the IBM SPSS Modeler and Statistics portfolio. Now, working closely with other IBM Analytics capabilities teams, he helps customers and prospects gain a better understanding of the power of predictive analytics. So Mike, Doug, thanks for being with us today. We're looking forward to your presentation. You know, for decades, IBM SPSS Statistics has been the trusted data analytics package for statisticians, researchers, and business analysts. That's because it offers superior capabilities, flexibility, and usability that are not available in traditional statistical software. So now IBM SPSS Statistics is available by subscription, offering even greater speed and ease than ever before, with no more software licenses or worrying about version updates. So in today's Data Science Central webinar, an overview of the new IBM SPSS Statistics Subscription will be provided, and you'll learn how to start enjoying the benefits of a powerful, affordable data analysis tool that can help you more easily access, manage, and analyze virtually any kind of data set, gain reliable results with a broad range of tests and procedures, and use R and Python to further extend your capabilities. So whether you're a beginner or an experienced analyst or a statistician, IBM SPSS Statistics Subscription software puts the power of advanced analytics and statistical analysis at your fingertips. Mike, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. You can begin as soon as you're ready to go.
Thanks, Bill. And I'd like to echo again, thanks everyone for taking their time out of the day to join us. I'm Mike Sauceda. I'll be taking you through some of the first pieces of the presentation today, and mainly we're going to be going over an overview of the SPSS, or I should say the Predictive Analytics space as seen by SPSS and our whole analytics division. We're going to talk about statistics, more or less as a primer to tell you where it's at today. And then we're going to turn over to Doug to talk about the SPSS Statistics subscription new offer coming out. He'll give you some details about what it means, what it's going to do for you, and hopefully generate some interest for you guys to come out and try the software when it's available at the end of March. Then we'll wrap up and hit the Q&A section as Bill outlined. So one of the big things that I've seen speaking to customers, going to conferences, is really this whole idea of when you're thinking of predictive analytics and data science or whatever you'd like to call this whole process of better understanding your customers, better understanding your constituents to try to improve outcomes, is that analysts, data scientists, statisticians, whatever you call yourself, there's really a shift in expectations where people want to make data simple and accessible. In the past, data can live all over the place, disparate sources, starts getting lumped up into hard to access silos and areas where an analyst may not have easy access to it. So this whole idea of making data simple and accessible involves breaking down that whole wall between different silos, different programs, putting different databases in place that you have to go out there and find to be able to access the data about your customers. The next thing is making that process no longer a bottleneck through the process of requesting data through IT, making it self-service, but keeping in some layer of governance so that people aren't out there wreaking havoc on different database systems that are very important to your organization. The next one is one that SPSS as a brand, as a product set, has really embraced for a long time, this whole idea of innovating with open source, leveraging open source languages like R and Python, making sure they're well integrated into the product so that people who know the open source coding can bring that into their analytics environment through SPSS and leverage best of both worlds, prepackaged software and open source flexibility. Then the whole idea about driving intelligence faster than ever before is about, it's no longer a process of using one tool, one model, one algorithm, one deployment method, and you're done. It's now a process of identifying different algorithms, different packages, analytic packages, open source, data mining, statistics, ad hoc analysis, and really mashing everything up into a process that can be easily iterated so that you can learn things from it and start processing out new models, and then also the flexibility and speed of deployment, getting those results out to people who are making decisions as fast as possible. So I touched on this very briefly before, but this idea of the roles and the data-driven professionals that are involved in the analytics process and data science process has changed a lot. Even 5-10 years ago, you'd see this list and it'd be data analyst, statistician, data scientist probably wasn't even really talked about at that point. But now you're seeing it's more of a specialty area where you have these additional roles that are coming in, like data engineers, where they might be like a liaison type position between the whole IT world, but they still understand what the data needs are of analysts and the whole data science and business professional. And then you have application developers making easily digestible tools around the predictive analytics and the data science space available to a larger amount of people, whether they be business analysts who, they have a cursory understanding of the data they're working with, but have a good understanding of their area and what business outcomes they're looking for. So this whole idea of roles, I think you're going to see and continue to see a lot of flexibility, because data scientist, even by itself, is being in a lot of places broken out to, you have technical data scientists, you might have a citizen data scientist, and many different organizations might distinguish them roles very differently from place to place. So you're never going to see just simply things like statistician anymore. It's going to be a much more wide range of roles and people who are interacting with predictive analytics tools. So predictive analytics, and this I'm hoping is a review for nearly everyone on the call, but it's really about uncovering value from your data. And I have big data in here, but it can be really any size. So thinking of your traditional statistics user from 5-10 years ago, they may be using flat file, whereas nowadays you may be connecting to database. You may also be leveraging data mining platforms, hopefully like our SPSS modeler software, to access big databases. If you're getting into Hadoop and looking at truly massive data, there's pieces of the SPSS portfolio that can handle all that. But understanding that you're looking to drive some sort of value and understanding what behaviors and what outcomes might happen as a result of the analysis is the biggest key here. So this is also another thing that's changed. Just like the roles of the traditional old statistician and the traditional data analyst, the data points that are being accessed vary I should say very easily, are much different than they were even a couple years ago. When I first started off in this space, most commonly you talk to someone, they might have the transactional information of a customer, they might have some demographic information, but whether or not any sort of attitudinal data has been collected or anything in this interaction space, very unlikely. Nowadays, it's less and less likely that they're only looking at one. They're probably, or you, I should say, are probably grabbing data and hopefully accessing data from all of these spaces. And understanding things like, how does my funnel in the digital space get me through from someone who doesn't know anything about our product to the learn phase to hopefully the try-buy phase, and then ultimately leading them to the buy phase. This sort of stuff can be mapped out pretty easily nowadays when you have access to clickstream data in this interaction space. When you're able to access open source, or I should say unstructured data like email chat, survey responses that are unstructured, where you just give us anything that help us understand what your preferences are, and someone might type a paragraph. Understanding that unstructured text and quantifying it so that you can actually use it in the analysis is a hugely important step, and one that for a long time has been greatly ignored. So thinking about this the how, the who, the what, the why, and putting that all together to make sure you have that 360-degree view of the customer, that's one of those expectations from that first slide where people, they don't want these silos anymore where you only can access one. They want to start looking at ways that I can combine all this data together and I don't have to do it in a series of exhaustive ETL steps that I'm responsible for as the analyst. So make this process easier for me, make sure that I'm able to access all the data about my customer so I can analyze it and make some informed decisions. That's really the sweet spot here and what people are trying to find. Now, a lot of it comes to what sort of questions you might be asking as an analyst, as a data scientist, as a business analyst, and how it can be applied as a use case to some sort of analytics platform or analytics software. And one of the biggest things is, you can read through some of these questions like, how can I find my best customers? One of the biggest ones I think of is churn, because these, in almost every instance, are not going to be one industry or one use case to one set of people. They're going to be things that can be asked and things that can hopefully be solved by a lot of different industries. So churn is a big example, from an organization who has a lot of customers, say like a cable company. How do I identify someone who might leave the company based on information I already have, which is people who have left the company, and build a model so I can start figuring out the probability that someone might leave the organization. Okay, so that very well mapped out in the commercial space, right? But that same exact question about churn, it can be flipped around and asked in a very different way. If you're a university concerned with your graduation rates and your dropout rates, you're asking that same exact question, but it's instead, as opposed to customer, it's now student. What can I find out about this student ahead of time that makes them more likely to drop out of school before graduation? Understanding it might have some different mixture of data, but organized in a very similar way, like classes they're taking, clubs they're a part of, their grades, obviously, transcripts, things like that that can be very solid indicators of, will a student leave before they graduate? Will they transfer? Or ultimately do what I want them to do, which is graduate from my university? And so these questions, they get spread across all these different use cases. So you have areas like evidence-based medicine, and we have a couple very well-publicized use cases out there around what people are doing. I believe it's Ottawa Hospital as the example, and they're trying to understand and get that 360-degree visibility of patient care so that things like escalation for like doctor consult requests can be automated in some cases based on indicators for their registration form as they come into the hospital. So improving the patient care experience and the satisfaction is hugely important in this space. Then you get into areas like human capital management. How are we keeping, I mentioned this whole thing about churn, but it can also be applied to employee retention. Are we keeping our employees that we're spending time in capital training and making sure that they're successful employees, or are we losing to competitive organizations in the space? Does it have some combination to do with our compensation package, our retirement benefits, our hours, our travel, and is there something we can do about it to make sure that this isn't an issue? Then you move into crime prevention, We have a couple, I believe it's Memphis Police Department, where they're using this predictive policing strategy to reduce crime, and they came up with some pretty astounding rates of the reductions. I think one of them is a 30% reduction in serious crime overall using predictive analytics to help identify areas where crime might occur. Then you go down to supply chain management, understanding can I do things more efficiently to make sure I'm keeping stuff out of the warehouse sitting and keeping things in motion from the supplier to the customer? Can I get that out of the way as quickly as possible and most efficiently as possible? And then finally, process optimization, looking at things like how do I improve that threat and fraud process to understand when someone might be in the insurance space submitting a fraudulent claim, or in the credit card space, someone's credit card might have been stolen. How do I identify this as soon as possible to minimize the amount of money spent on that card before it's canceled? So with that all set in place, the next thing I want to do is quickly give you a very fast overview of SPSS statistics. And this is as it exists now. And for most people, I know we have a larger number of people on this call, SPSS statistics, it's the first step that people go off of before, or I should say, when they've exhausted all capabilities in stuff like simple spreadsheets. Excel users are probably the largest chunk of people that end up moving and migrating into an SPSS statistics platform. And that's simply because SPSS statistics gives you a variety of easy to use, very user-friendly algorithms and data management, data analysis techniques that are on hand. That's point and click rather than the whole manual process of writing a macro to do something, or going into open source and trying to code it completely from scratch on your own. So really understanding how to digest data sets and understand what's going on in your data, and ultimately start looking at ways that you can analyze the data to start making some decisions off of it. So SPSS statistics as it exists now, most customers get an exposure to this in the university space. They may be using it in a statistics course. Then graduating into the commercial or the professional space, getting access to this as its traditional offering was on premises. You were buying a license that you owned, you'd install it, and every year you'd get a new version of the license and then do your install from there. You'd pay maintenance and support. That whole process is changing with this statistics subscription launch, and Doug's going to get into a lot of detail on what that means for you as a consumer, so I'll save that piece for now. Then moving on to the next slide, this is one pretty much fresh off the presses. The 2017 Gartner Magic Quadrant recently came out. So if you're asking that question, like, why would I choose SPSS over all the other organizations out there? There's a lot of people that are putting out data science platforms or predictive analytics platforms. One thing that really stands out, and we use quite often to distinguish ourselves, is these outside firms like Gartner. They take a look at all the analytics portfolio or the analytics products out there in the market, and they evaluate them objectively. So this is all third party. And what they found is over the past 4 years, we've always been a recognized leader in this space. We're always considered the highest in as far as execution and vision. And you'll see this if you read this report independently. I think you'll find that SPSS, the whole predictive analytics space, SPSS Modeler, the new, or I should say recently launched Data Science Experience, all these pieces combined to really form up our data science portfolio, and that's why we're in this leadership space. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Doug for the next part of the presentation. Doug, go ahead and take it away.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Hi, everyone, again. I am Doug Stauber. I am the lead offering manager for SPSS Statistics. And I've been offering manager now for about 3 years. And during that time, I've gotten a lot of questions. And I would have thought that most of the questions I would have gotten would have been about the in-product experience. Maybe questions about statistical algorithms, or questions about our roadmap, or maybe even suggestions for UI improvements. But to my surprise, no. Most of the questions that I get actually are around purchasing the product and managing the product and licensing the product and upgrading the product. And so you can see here, this is a list of the most common questions I get on a daily basis. And they represent real pain points from our customers. And they're painful because they take time to solve. And frankly, that's time that's better spent in using the software for data science purposes. And I decided as offering manager that it's time to do something about these questions. And today I'm excited to announce a new offering that does answer every one of these questions. It's an offering with effortless downloads. It's an offering with very simple user management. It's an offering without license keys. And it's offering that constantly gets better. So I'm proud to introduce this new offering today. So the offering is SPSS Statistics Subscription. And this is a new and really exciting addition to the SPSS Statistics family of products. It's a monthly rental option that includes simple and easy access to either a Windows or Mac SPSS Statistics client. So we're announcing it today, and it's going to be available very shortly. It's going to be available on March 28th of this month. So let's talk about this offering a little bit more. What makes it special? And really, there are four things that really make this offering special. So first, it's incredibly easy to buy. It's easy to manage, easy to license, and it's easy to upgrade, so you don't have to worry about versions anymore. So let's talk through each one of these features now in more detail. So first, we designed this offering from the ground up to be incredibly easy to buy. So to do so, we came up with simplified packaging. We made pricing as easy as we possibly could, and we made purchasing as easy as it could as well. Let's talk about packaging first. So if you're familiar with SPSS Statistics, and like our latest major release, SPSS Statistics 24, you know our packaging. Our packaging includes 4 different additions and up to 14 modules. And that is great. That is really flexible. But what we found is that, especially for new customers, they found that it is quite confusing and maybe a little bit too complicated, maybe even overkill for them. So what we decided to do is simplify that packaging. And we simplified it to what you see here on screen. So with SPSS Statistics Subscription, there is only 1 base edition and then 3 optional add-ons. And so you can purchase 0, 1, 2, or all 3 of these add-ons to extend the functionality found in the base edition. The other thing I wanted to point out is that this base edition includes basically an enhanced base edition. So it's the traditional base edition of SPSS Statistics, but we also put in data preparation capabilities and bootstrapping capabilities inside this base edition without any extra charge. And so we did that because we felt that everyone can really leverage these great components. And so that's available at no extra charge in the base edition. So that's the new simplified packaging for the subscription. The other thing that we decided to do for this offering is to make it incredibly easy to buy without any commitments. So you're able to pay as you go. You can just buy 1 month at a time. So it's going to be a lot like your Netflix subscription. You're able to cancel anytime. And so ultimate in flexibility. And then finally, we wanted to make purchasing easy as well. And so what we decided to do is to streamline the experience of this offering on the IBM Marketplace. And if you've never purchased from IBM Marketplace before, I strongly encourage you to do so. It is really a fast and easy and secure way to purchase offerings like this from IBM. So this offering will be featured on that IBM Marketplace. It also will be available from your favorite IBM sales representative and soon through business partners as well. So again, we're giving you a lot of flexibility to purchase this offering. So that's the first major feature of of this subscription, we're making it really easy to buy. The second major feature is that we wanted to make it incredibly easy to manage as well. And so SPSS Statistics Subscription includes simplified software and user management. Now to do this, we invested in a capability off of IBM.com called My IBM Products and Services. Now this is an amazing section of the IBM website that allows you to do really everything related to an offering all in one place. So IBM Products and Services allows you to do everything shown here on the left-hand side of the screen. So you can download your client software, your Windows or Mac software. You're able to upgrade add-ons. So maybe you didn't buy one of the add-ons initially when you just bought the base edition. You can go ahead and do that from My IBM Products and Services. You can buy additional seats. You can buy additional copies of the base edition or buy additional copies of the add-ons. You can also manage users. So multiple users in an organization can use the same subscription. And from My IBM Products and Services, you can add more users, you can remove users, and you can change entitlement as well. You can move capabilities from one user to another very easily. Another big benefit, something that we've never been able to do with SPSS software before, is to deactivate machines. So let's say you have a hard drive failure on your computer that's running SPSS Statistics Subscription. Or maybe you just want to move your software from one computer to another. You can do that from My IBM Products and Services by deactivating the first machine. And you can also cancel your subscription and contact IBM support all in one place. So again, we really tried to make it as easy as possible to own and maintain your copy of SPSS Statistics. And doing that through My IBM Products and Services is going to be a really great way to do it. Moving on, I want to talk about the next big feature of this release, and that's the improved licensing experience. So over the years, we've gotten a lot of criticism about our current licensing technology, and we really wanted to do something about that for this release. So what we decided to do is invest in a new custom technology that basically makes licensing invisible. So what it does is it manages your entitlement using your IBM ID or IBM account. So what that means is the first time you launch the product, it's going to ask you to sign in to it, just like it was a web service. And then once you sign in, we automatically verify entitlement and reconfigure the product to support whatever options that you have purchased. And it really is that quick. It's almost instantaneous. And to me, this is the most ideal way to license software because, again, it makes it invisible. So I really hope you guys love this because it's a really big feature that we've been working on for a long time. It's going to remove a lot of pain points and make just using the software a lot easier. So the last big feature of this release is that it is super easy to upgrade. So you don't have to worry about versions anymore. So for the first time ever, we are including a check for updates feature right into the product itself. So this allows you to update the product without visiting any website whatsoever. You just go to Help, Check for Updates, and we go to our cloud update server, and we download the latest fix packs to fix bugs. But also, for the first time ever, we are including the ability to add features as well. So this is the first SPSS statistics software that gets better as you use it. So we're going to be releasing not only fix packs, but also new features as well. I'm also very excited to announce that not only are great new features coming in the near future, but we're actually launching with 2 really exciting new features on March 28th, so when you first download this offering. So I wanted to quickly go through those 2 new features right now. So the first new feature is all around our chart builder. So what we decided to do is make it incredibly easy to create and share your chart builder charts. And there's 3 new exciting features for the chart builder. First, by default, it's going to build amazing looking charts, really beautiful looking charts. You can see some examples here. And that comes just naturally. We decided to invest in modern colors and modern UI for the graphics so they look fantastic and are presentation ready. The second big new feature is that it is incredibly easy and fast to create these charts because we are, again, for the first time ever, allowing customization, including changing of colors, in the chart builder interface without having to go into the chart editor. So you can do that right as you're building your charts, is select all your colors and select most of your most popular options. And the third big new feature for the chart builder is actually, in my opinion, a killer feature. And what it allows you to do is to edit charts after exporting into Microsoft Office. So what this is from the output viewer, you're able to right-click on a chart, hit copy, and then go into Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and you're able to either paste it as an image, or, for the first time ever, you can paste it as a Microsoft Office graphic object. So that allows you to change the colors in Microsoft Office of the chart, change the text in the chart, and even change the chart type. So it's a really exciting new feature, and it shows our commitment to working with Microsoft Office. By the way, the beta users really love this. This to them was the killer feature as well. So really excited for you guys to try this out. The next big feature is all around advanced statistics. So what we decided to do is to respond to a lot of the requests for enhancements we got for our advanced statistics features. And we invested in general and mixed, GLM, UniANOVA, and repeated measures algorithms. And so there's a whole bunch of new features here. We don't have time to go through them all, but I did want to call out one that was the most popular in our beta testing, and that was the new additions to profile plots. So now we're allowing error bars and bar and line chart options as well in the profile plots. That makes them incredibly easy to read, really much more meaningful from a statistical perspective. And again, I'll be announcing more details on this in the SPSS community this month. Okay, and with any new release, there's always miscellaneous enhancements. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these now, but I did want to call out one feature in particular that I really like, and that is in the data editor, you are now able to copy and paste data with and without variable names. So again, that makes moving to and from Microsoft Excel or other spreadsheet applications incredibly easy and incredibly fast because you don't have to take the time to export or import. You can just copy and paste and keep your variable names. So again, a bunch of new other features, and we have a lot of other exciting features on the roadmap as well. So that's the quick introduction to SPSS Statistics Subscription. Thank you for joining us today. I really hope you guys are very excited about this new offering that provides effortless downloads, simple user management, an offering that always gets better and does it all without license keys. So it is available to try and buy on March 28th, so just a few more weeks from now. I encourage you to continue the conversation on the SPSS community. I will be there, and I will be able to respond to as many of your questions as I possibly can. And speaking of questions, I'm going to turn it back over to Bill, because I believe we have some time for some Q&A.
Hey, Mike, Doug, thanks for that excellent presentation. We'll get started with today's Q&A session, and I want to thank the audience for their participation. We've had a lot of questions that have come in during the presentation, and we'll do our best to get through all of them in the time remaining. So during this Q&A session, I'll leave up this screen with contact information for Mike and Doug if you'd like to contact them following today's webinar. So let's get started. Mike, Doug, has the SPSS Statistics Subscription changed the existing SPSS Statistics licensing?
No. So the existing licensing for SPSS Statistics, like SPSS Statistics 24, is exactly the same.
Okay, and will I be able to access the subscription version outside of the United States? Can I get this subscription, for example, in Europe?
Yes, this will be available all over the world.
Okay. Now, you talked about a number of features that seem to be enhancements in subscription, and we have a number of questions that relate to, okay, now what's in the subscription package versus what's in the standard package. So can you just cover briefly, first of all, is the subscription version the same as version 24? And can you briefly go over the features that are in the subscription that may not be in version 24, and vice versa, what's in the standard license that might not be available on subscription?
Yeah, so the best way to think about the subscription features is it basically is like version 24.5. So it enhances what was available in SPSS Statistics 24. And the new features beyond the subscription-only features, like the user management and the simplified licensing, were there on those 3 charts at the end. So the improved graphics and the customer request enhancements for advanced statistics, and also those like copy and paste enhancements as well. So those are some features that are not available in SPSS Statistics 24. But again, the subscription is going to get better on a regular basis, so you'll see more and more features come out on a regular cadence.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Now, a question about interoperability. If I'm already using the SPSS version 24, can I get those modules to work with the subscription version?
So if you already own some modules like in 24 or another version of SPSS Statistics, those will not work here. You'll have to purchase base subscription and then either 0, 1, 2, or 3 of the subscription add-ons. But I do want to make clear that all of your syntax and all of your data for SPSS Statistics 24 will work perfectly fine in the subscription as long as you buy the right add-ons.
Okay, well, that's obviously important. You know, I'm really astounded at the number of audience questions that have come in. I think clearly people have been waiting for this subscription version for a long time just based on the volume of questions here. So let me just run down these questions, which all relate to some question about how the subscription works.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, would I be able to use the subscription version somehow offline, for example, in an airplane or when I was not online?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. So the first time you use the subscription, you will have to log into it, and we verify entitlement and make sure that you are licensed for it. And after that first time, you're allowed basically up to 2 weeks of continuous offline use. So let's say you go out of the country for 2 weeks and for some reason you don't have internet, or you're in and out of airports and your internet is not consistent, that's totally fine. So SPSS Statistics will start up and shut down completely fine. But if you try to use SPSS Statistics subscription for more than 2 weeks, so on that 15th day, we'll basically throw up a warning message that says, hey, like SPSS Statistics needs to go online to verify entitlement. Please go online and we will do so. So all you have to do is go online for a few minutes. You know, we'll phone home to make sure you still have the proper entitlement. And then again, you can have up to 2 weeks of offline use.
Well, that's very interesting. And let me just clarify. That means, I take it, that the bulk of the SPSS analytic software has been downloaded to my machine and is updated periodically, but it puts it closer to my data. Am I correct?
That's 100% correct. Yep.
Okay, okay. Now, question from the audience. How would the pricing work if I'm using two machines? Would I need to buy two licenses, or can I switch back and forth between them?
Great question. Yeah, I love it. SPSS Statistics Subscription is charged per user per month. So as long as you are one user, it really doesn't matter how many machines you are using this on. So what you would do is if you, for example, have two machines, office machine and an at-home machine. What you would do is after you've been done working on SPSS Statistics at the office, instead of exiting the program, you go to a new button, basically a new exit option called Exit and Sign Out. So then you go to Exit and Sign Out, and what that does is that returns a license basically to our cloud license server. And then you go home, and then you open up SPSS Statistics, and as soon as you open it, it will ask you to log in. So then you log in with your same IBM account, and then we will take that license from that cloud license server, and you can open it up on your home machine as well. And you can keep on doing that as many times as you want across as many machines as you want.
Oh, what a nice feature. Good planning. Question about the order in which I need to acquire the add-ons for additional capability. Can I purchase each add-on independently, or do I need to buy, for example, custom tables in order to get forecasting and decision trees?
Yes, good question. No, we decided not to do that tiered approach. Back when we were coming up with the packaging for this product, we looked at doing it the way that we traditionally have done bundles, right? Like base, standard, professional, premium. But I felt that was unfair to customers that, for example, just wanted exact test and base, because they would have to buy something that's incredibly expensive instead of just buying the single module that they want. So what that means for subscription is that you have to buy base, that is the base version of the product, but it doesn't really matter what order that you buy the add-ons. So if you want custom tables and advanced statistics, go ahead and just buy that. But if you don't want custom tables and advanced statistics, and instead you want just base and forecasting and decision trees, you can go ahead and do that too. So it creates maximum flexibility.
Well, that's really an excellent plan. And just to be clear, for example, if I'm already working in data science and I want to use something like neural networks, where would neural networks fall in the add-on packaging?
Neural networks is in the forecasting and decision trees add-on.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
I note that I will post that little matrix of what module is in what add-on. I'll do that on the community later today. Okay.
Thank you very much. Now, will SEM AMOS still be available in one of the add-on packages?
So right now, SPSS AMOS is not available as part of this subscription offering. You'll just have to buy it the traditional way. SPSS AMOS 24 is available perpetually.
Okay. Well, thanks for that clarification. Now to maybe some more difficult questions. Can I switch from my existing SPSS licenses to an SPSS Statistics subscription?
So there is no trade-up program or anything to do that. This is a new offering that includes unique features like those user management features. So there's no way to really trade up.
Okay. Though I did understand from the end of your presentation that you said there was a trial version. Is that correct?
That's correct. The trial will be available on March 28th, the same day that it is available for purchase.
Okay, good. And what are the terms of the trial? How long is the trial?
14 days.
Okay, all right. Now, is there a currently, or will there be a server version of the SPSS Statistics subscription?
Right now, there are no plans for a server version. This is client-only software.
Okay. And of course,
So if you do need,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, if you do need that server version, I encourage you to buy SPSS Statistics 24.
Right. If you need it, you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the places where SPSS has always done very well is in the academic environment. How does a subscription figure into your plans for the academic world?
Yeah, so right now, SPSS Statistics Subscription is only available at commercial pricing, so not really suitable for academic, like Academic Campus Edition or Grad Pack, at least not at this time.
Okay, all right. And are there any particular system requirements that I need to be aware of before I start down this path with subscription?
It's fairly standard. If SPSS Statistics 24 worked on your machine, so will SPSS Statistics Subscription. It's a Windows or Mac computer with internet access, and that's about it.
Okay. Now, one of our audience members asks, can they purchase the subscription for just 1 month and then discontinue and then come back and purchase another month later on? Can we do month to month with broken scheduling?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like Netflix. So if that suits your particular need, you are definitely welcome to do so.
That's terrific. That's terrific. And one last question before we depart. And will all the SPSS Statistics 24 syntax work with the new statistics subscription?
Absolutely, yes. We are fully backwards compatible.
Okay. Well, Mike, Doug, hey, thank you for some great answers to some very good questions. For those of you who asked questions that weren't answered today, we'll be sending all the unanswered questions to Mike and Doug and the IBM Analytics team so they can follow up with you after today's webinar. I have just a few quick announcements. If you would please mark your calendars for March 14th, and that's our next DSC webinar, which is Communicating Analytic Insights Visually, and that'll be presented by Tableau. Also remember that today's taping will be available for on-demand viewing later today, and you can find that on the home page of Data Science Central in the Webinar tab located at the top of the page. Well, this brings today's webinar to a close. I'd like to thank our audience for their attendance and thoughtful questions, and a special thanks again to IBM Analytics for their sponsorship and our speakers today, Doug Stauber and Mike Sauceda, for their insight into today's topics. My name is Bill Vorhies. I'm very pleased to have been your host for today's event, and I look forward to seeing you all again on March 14th. Have a great day.